Every single time I come up in between sessions, even if it's only 15 or 20 minutes, or if it's, a week later, doesn't matter, I clean my palette. And I used to not, if it wasn't long between, I wouldn't clean this, but these little bits, I mean, that's wet still, but there's places that it's dried up, and it's, those little specks can get in your paint, drives me nuts. So I just spray it. 2 big sprays with my little water bottle there. And I take a scraper. And now you can, if it's wet enough, just take a paper towel and, wipe it out like this. The key is just to get this stuff up. Usually I will do a combo of both. I'll wipe it up some, and then I'll get real close to this paint. Even there, there's not much ultramarine blue left, so I will just go ahead, take that up, yellow, white, wherever I've mixed it, flat little piles. Even that burnt sienna, it's not worth taking a chance on it. So I just put it in my old coffee can there, and when it piles up to here, I throw them away. So just wanted to show that that's the way I start every one of them. I'll put out a little bit more paint. I don't put a lot of paint out. Again, it'll dry, it'll get a film. You can, like this right here, gets a little film on it, and there's wet paint under there, but on the top you see that it's dry. That's no bueno. So again, just what I do. Another little side note, I guess, before we get the second stage of this painting, I did put, I went and bought some natural light bulbs. That is a candelabra, I think is what it's called, size bulb. It's an odd size bulb, so I had to go to Lowe's and get some. But I did not like the warm light that it was casting. And if you notice, a beautiful Sunday after we've had the snowstorm, that's our original carriage house. There's not too many. I'm sure I think I know of 1 or 2 others left in Frankfurt, but that is a 130-year-old, or 230-year-old. It's pre-1812, probably 1800-ish original carriage house. So anyway, beautiful sunny day. Notice how right now the sun is shining in, stills reflected. Well, I mean, the sun's not shining on my canvas, but it is shining in the room. So it's just a different. I'm going to try. I've took my finger and pushed on the canvas where that's focused, trying to figure out my phone how to get it to manual focus and not focus on my hand and then focus out. It probably is not going to work, but that's what I read. Internet expert. There's no setting that I can find on my camera that says how to turn off autofocus, but I do know that when my shoulder gets in there, it focuses on my shoulder. I apologize for that. The drawings there, for the most part, bigger shapes. I do have the bird to Pelican put in here. Once we settle on this, it's all just like everything you've seen so far. It's about just putting down more information, layering. We got it kind of that first wash, if you will, looking where it's darker, where it's bluer, where it's anything. You just keep putting more paint on, keep restating, fixing. So I'm not going to worry at all about where I've got this written in. It's probably not, it's definitely not in the right spot because it should be in between those windows, right? So I'm going to lose all of this sketch work that I did, which is fine. I didn't really expect that. More helped me draw this out than it did anything. So we are going to go ahead, doesn't really matter where we start, but I'm going to go ahead and paint over this yellow much lighter and more paint. Absolutely important. If I keep, like you saw me do the last painting on the beach, you know, the front, lots of washes, that's not what I'm going to do here. I'm going to put some paint down. Because it's not luminous, it's not light and water and reflection. I want that sun to hit this and it be really, I may even do palette knife, to be honest with you. That's how bold I want this. So I am going to put a little bit of water. I guess I should not have this brush. I shouldn't have this brush. No, I shouldn't. Need the big brush, big flat, which means we're going to go in big time. We're going to pick up some paint. We're going to play with some paint. So I'm going to make sure I get a good amount of white, touch of yellow, and in my mind it's somewhere between that cadmium yellow medium. I may have to touch a little bit of burnt sienna in it. Don't know. I may honestly do that on purpose, where to me this area looks brighter and lighter, and it looks a little richer, if you will, down here. So this is, I've got this pretty dead burn light, which is what I want. And I may have to put more water in it. That's what I want though. That's the effect I want. I want that thick, bright, and it takes some paint to do that. It takes some paint. We're gonna have, you know, this is several attempts we're gonna have to get this right. And we're gonna clean that edge up with that blue or whatever color that is. I can't even tell. That don't look very straight, do it? That don't look very straight. You know, I'm sure, and I've actually heard artists do this. No different than you would when you're exercising or playing a sport. You warm up, right? But I don't warm up on my paint. I just pick up a brush and start painting. Probably would do better. And again, I know some artists have, they do these little, if they're going to do a big gallery piece, you know, I'm sure they're getting, you know, multi-$1,000s for these things. Then they will take and maybe do a little, you know, 20-minute, 30-minute sketch painting or something, one of those late by 10s, but they don't spend much time. They're just really trying to get their juices flowing, I guess, and get their, you know, it's kind of like a golfer going to the driving range, I guess, I don't know. And some of those paintings that I've seen they do like that, I really didn't like the paintings. But I said that because that stroke wasn't very straight. I'm not on my game right now. Not on my game. This is about keep reloading, more paint, more mix. Again, I'm not a person who adheres to mixing a big, huge pool that's all the same color. I just remix and try to match that color, and if it's a little off, I welcome that. I enjoy that. I like it to be a little different. It ain't perfect. It ain't perfect. Every time that I do this, though, I want to put that little separation there, so that when I put the next coat on, which I'm sure I'll have to paint over this again and mix it again and restate it again. You've heard me say this. That's the same as this, right? I'm not too worried about that little area I missed there. Well, I guess I am worried about it because I'm fixing it. But there'll be a little frame that goes over that. And we'll pray. I mean, this, you know how this goes. That's going to dry. she's going to dry a little bit duller, a bit darker, which means if you want it to be vibrant, you got to keep loading that paint on, loading it on, thick, thick, thick. And again, it still skips a little, even though I'm putting this on thick. But I think you kind of see the difference of that light on it. And again, I'm going to make sure, even if I'll say accidentally get these, get each one of these right, I keep remixing. I will purposely change it a little bit because I don't want it all to look the same. I want it to have some variation and skipping, and not for the sake of doing it. It's just buildings have that, and it's not. Again, it's just where the light hits different. It's reflections off the water. It's maybe even some of that handrail. It's just should be a little bit different here or there. This will end up. I'll make sure this area is brighter than this area because that's the way I see it. But that would be more, you really don't want a lot of interest down here anyway. Unless there's something there that you want people looking at. Important to the story, We're all about telling a story. This sounds dumb. A little area like that, I don't know if you can see that where I kind of missed. I want some of that. It's just interesting. Now, I could take this and this is what I would normally do in reflections, but it's actually a little darker. It's more like what I've got down there now. There may be some places that's there. Maybe cutting into this a little. And again, I'm looking here. Remember that boat's not here in my world. So this is going to be, I guess, this right here will be dark. This, I guess, is going to end about right there. Yeah. Just have to make that up. It wouldn't be that thick, but I'm going to put this dark in here. We'll just have to struggle a little with that. But I'm going to leave some of this, see how it's happening now? I'm going to leave this a little different down in here. Okay. Leave that for a second. We are going to, John's going to be a good little boy. And I'm going to switch brushes. I'm going to switch brushes. Because you know me, I don't usually do that. So I'll just grab a filbert because I'm going to restate these darks with, I hope you can see that one, blue, beautiful ultramarine blue, and burnt sienna. I know I'm a broken record, but that's my darks, and I'm going to probably leave, I don't want it to be blue, but I want it to be on the bluer side, cooler side. And you see how you have to sneak up with the acrylics. The brighter you want them, you really got to keep putting it on there, the darker you want, right? This is the same thing. This was burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. I may have had a little too much water in it, I don't remember, but yeah. So there's a nice light on that rail, which we're going to put right here, and right underneath it, it's nice and dark. We're going to be, again, I'm sure I'll take a palette knife and go, oh, that nice here. Let me zoom in and see if you can see what I'm talking Right, it's hidden, all of this shadow's hidden, but right here there's light hitting that. That's going to be really important. We want to get this dark. And there's a place right here, right there, that there's some light coming through, which is nice, and then off this edge, right? So we want to make sure we leave that because it's interesting, and it's there. There's this nice dark here. Who knows what's back there that's making that? Don't care. Just try to, again, be a slave to the subject, and then it'll just happen. I mean, it's brainwash yourself with this stuff. You know, if you want to sit here every time and articulate and go, well, I know I'm painting water, let me think about what water looks like, then that's fine. But I find it better to just try to mimic what I'm looking at, and hey, it should happen, right? It should work. We're getting no man's land in here because we're going to have to make this up. So there'll be some support, so that handrail will go out, there'll be a support here, right? This is going, and I know this is wrong, but I don't care. I need to kind of think through this. So this is going to come down like this. This is going to go all the way across, and this goes like that, right? It's going to be something like that. It's going to tuck around that corner. So there's going to be a reflection here, and there's going to be some of this going on. I can live with that. I can live with that. But I mean, right, that's kind of what we have to do, is kind of imagine, because I don't have a picture of it. And this may go out further, I can't tell, but we'll worry about that later. So this is going to be, see that burnt sienna's in there a little too much, which is okay. Right now during the underpainting, I just really want to get the values right. And if there's some little interesting temperature changes, I'm good with that. So here at the bottom, there is, and this is going to take a few whacks at this too, right? But there's it's not perfect because it's all over the place. And again, pretend that's not there, but here's the top of that door, right? And this is of course much smaller. And it's wobbly. It's wobbly. So here would be this, and again, I don't want it to look too good, but I mean, you see, it's actually, even though that's a window, you see its size, it's only this big. It's actually reflecting all the way from the top. It's reflecting from where, you know, right in here where the handrail is, which is kind of weird if you think about it. It sure is. It sure is. And this one, am I looking at this wrong? Like this one is, that's that window. This one doesn't have much of nothing. What's up with that? What's up with that? What's up with that? I don't know, there's gotta be a reason, but I don't know what it is. I want this to make sense to me. So we're gonna have the white thing here, the pier thing is gonna be, there's just a wobbling of that because it's really above this. So even though it's not there, I'm gonna put, to me this one would be the same. Roughly. And there's, so this is gonna come over. There's gonna be more stuff here because that door, and there is some light. Odd. Well, it's not odd, I don't know why it's there, but there's a yellow and some red. Not sure what's happening there. I don't know what should happen. No. we're going to paint him in. So we're going to, I'm going to make it a little more yellow. Well, it's tucked back in there. It's the same yellow, but it's yellower to me. And I don't know if that shows, but it's definitely banana-y, more yellower. Let me put a little bit more paint on here. I'm okay with that for now. And again, there would be a, none of that down there. There's some stuff back here. There's a guy standing there. I've never even seen him before. Do we put him on there? Let's see, this actually, and I don't like that. This railing comes all the way like where I've moved this stuff, right? But it comes in line with one of these. Again, remember, this isn't here. This is that. And I don't like that. I want this to be separate. It's got to make sense, right, where it is. But I want this to be, that color sucks. I don't know why I did that, to be honest with you. Just fine. So I mix that color. Ooh, that's the only place. Now it does, and I'm going to just drag this. It does go above this, but it's covered by that's right, because it makes sense to go all the way up and down. And there's a door. There is a door. Again, is this critical? No. But it should make sense of and that is red. I don't even have red on my palette. And that's something I don't do that often. I know it sounds dumb, but a lot of times I won't even put red on my palette because I find myself, for my warm, often I just use the burnt sienna because it's a dark orange, right? It's a dark orangish earth tone. But I need to, let's do this. Let's do this. We're gonna paint it, frame of the door real dark. And that's narrow. Put it about like that. I like that. It's about how it is. And it actually looks like it's at the top of some stairs is probably what's going on there. Some stairs that we'll probably put in there. I like the color. Right, there's some red up in here too. Even warm, and I'm not going to put them in, but even I see warmth on some of these posts, which is cool. So this needs to just be a darkish. It could be kind of, just a muted color. Doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be something that, like something's going on back there, but I can't really tell what it is. For now, that'll be okay. We'll clean that up. And there's a shadow. Well, you know what? Now that I think about it, that shadow is being cast. This shadow here is being cast by the boat. This makes sense because there's an opening on this other side, right? There's an opening here that's making that. But this is a cast shadow from the boat, so it shouldn't be there anyway. All right, I'm good now. Good now. All this is just sneaking up on this stuff. Sneaking up a little darker. Don't have to cover the whole thing, right? Even though this is one big plane there, one complete one. Who knows what's going on inside those, right? Because that doesn't make sense. They're just, looks like they just got something over them. Like maybe it's a shade, I don't know. But to me, That was ugly. But I'm gonna leave it because there's some of that here. Look, there's ugly going on up in here. So I'm gonna leave that for now. That's the fun part. I'll probably cheat because I'm a cheater to try to get, I don't want it to look perfectly straight, but I do need this relatively straight when I go to put that frame over it. Hand railing will probably cheat too. Why not? I'm a damn cheater. Okay, let's see here. So there's a frame there. Let's work on these a little bit more. Because that's, again, all this is about is pushing this a little more, pushing the dark, pushing the light. Remember, this is just a wash, but look how dark that is. And it's, you know what, it has to lean toward blue, doesn't it? It has to. It has to. Remember when we're doing this, I really don't want it to be perfectly straight, but we do it, you know, wrist, from the elbow, from the shoulder. We don't do this unless it's a little bitty area or something. So to do these things, start, pull, start from here. I'll do my elbow, pull straight down, and we'll soften that. Not with this. I mean, I could, but to soften, because that's wet, right? Sharp on both sides. I want this inside to be softer. You could take your finger. That's chancy. You've seen me do that a bunch. You can wipe this brush out and just use the tip. Right? You could use another dry. You could take another brush that is dry. See that? Soften, soften, soften. You pick up the paint, just pull it across. I don't adhere to like any set rule. I just kind of, whatever it feels like. So that one's behind it. Right? So this whole thing pretty much is in shadow. That's interesting. I like that. I like it. Because if you created that, you know, if you fabricated and made that out of your head, you wouldn't have that behind it. But that's why I kind of like it. It's different now. Notice it's not casting much of a shadow. This one, yeah, these are. There's no doubt. And again, it's dark because it's stupid boat. Stupid boat, stupid boat. A little hokey at the moment. Looks a little hokey. We're not going to allow for hokey though. No hokey pokey. No hokey pokey here. So we want, let's do this. Now, this may be psychotic, but I want this to be a little more different than that. The two over here. Let's see what this looks like. It's lighter here. I know it is. I know it is. I hear you saying it. I don't want to see this stroke. I don't like the stroke I'm putting down. I want it to follow what would make sense. But some of these are just tough to put down. Let's see here. down here, maybe a little more ultramarine blue with that. Maybe. See, I want this to be nice and rich, right? That's so transparent. We can't have that. We can't have. It's really tough to see what those colors, this reflection of that brilliant sky we don't have here, but it would be over here. At least in our little world, it's going to be over here. Yeah. So we want it lighter there, and we may even go lighter than that, but I want it to be, this is the most, and I may go over this too. This is the most saturated, it goes light. This is the most saturated, like right under our feet. And because of atmosphere and reflection, it's going to, just gonna do that right there. God, this is fun if you let it be fun. If you let it beat you up, because it'll beat you up. It will beat you up if you let it. Gotta make it fun. Now let's see if I can get a color in between those. Play with it. It's gonna take some time. It is gonna take some time. This again, reflection. I don't want it to be razor sharp here. It's got to be pretty sharp here, right? So I'm okay if I'm doing that and leaving that edge broken like that, but I don't want it over here really. And I'll go over that some more. It doesn't matter if I go over it or not, but yeah, a little depth happening there. A little bit of depth. Again, I'll go lighter there because I went too dark, and it'll make that lay back a little bit more. Yeah, the thing that's, I know it's tough to see if you've not done what I'm doing, if you've not done a lot of painting with acrylics. It's tough to really look at this and imagine what it's going to look like, right? It's so easy to get just to paint and you're in this ugly state. You know, all the paintings get to a point where you get you get the canvas covered. And you know, if my wife walks through here, she's seen me paint enough, she knows that there's a process. But you know, I'm sure, you know, there was a point where, you know, one of the kids would walk through and go, "Dad sucks, wow." You know, because it's at least my paintings, they don't look beautiful the whole time. I hope they do at the end, but there are some artists that, you know, it seems like the whole time they're painting it looks beautiful, but that's just not me. I don't do that. So you have to mentally get through that. You know, where it's almost like you want to quit, you can't figure it out, what the hell's going on. I'll just cover that, even though that may not be accurate. And again, I'm just putting little hints. I know that's not standing out enough, but it will. It will. It's kind of happening a little bit. I can kind of see it. I'll put this down darker. Just struggle with this painted up to look. I don't like it at all. Not one damn bit. I don't like it, damn it. Darn it. That burn it. nabbit. I'm looking, I'm standing back. I like this transition. There's not enough of it here. So again, if I lick my finger, which I want, but if I lick the finger, I want it like that, this would come up because it's half dry, half not. So I don't want to do that. I need to hit the sky. Why did that happen? What happened? Wow, that's crooked. She's crooked. She's pretty crooked, isn't she? Why did you all let that happen? It's your all's fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. Gee willikers.